goals and ambitions. When brothers start chasing that bag, and if they're really on their purpose, especially if you're a professional, you're not going to really start making money until you're in your mid 30s. If you MD or a lawyer, if you start at 18, freshman in college, the earliest that you'll be able to be free of loans and things like that is about 33. So 33, you did 4 years of undergrad, that's 22. You do 4 years of post-grad, that's 26. Doctors do another 3 years for residency, so that's 29 for doctors. Lawyers got to pass the bar and find a job. That's 27, 28 for a lawyer. And then so you paying loans back for 3 or 4 years. Okay, a doctor's 33, 34, 35. A lawyer's about 31, 32 before they could actually start making actual money. Those are the things that a lot of people don't realize. And if a guy's chasing that bag, he's on his purpose, he has to realize that a woman has to realize that he's not going to be ready until he feels he's ready. And if he wants being married and having that responsibility before you're sets up a lot of people for failure. If a woman's willing to wait, she will be rewarded with that, with what most women want these days, that soft life. But getting there is the hardest part, and he needs a support and maybe not a burden, because those guys that go to school, professional business people, they're not going to get they're in the office 80 hours a week. They're putting in that time. They're not going to have time. They maybe have a day or a half a day where they're not really doing anything, and then they're prepared for the next 80-hour work week. So as much as people like attention, if you want the top 10% of men that have those type of jobs and have those type of professions, you got to have patience. You have to have the patience of Job, or you're not gonna, you're gonna get mad and be sleeping with the gardener to get your back blown out while Urkel Dexter is out there slaving away at the trying to get that bag. What do you think about that, Pearl?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But a lot of people don't put that into perspective or a factor
Yeah.
because of the way the society is set up right now. Um, they don't care to wait for anything anymore, in a sense. Now you have a lot of people who are trying to bypass the easy way of doing things, and they can't wait for that stability. They want. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of women who just want the factor of getting married, and so they don't care if that man is ready or not.
Yes. Yes.
They don't care if that man is trying to establish himself and be stable before he decides that he wants to build a family with anyone.
Well, the wedding's for the woman anyway. The guy just
Yeah,
has to be there, But a lot of women want the wedding, but they don't necessarily want to be wives.
correct, correct. I was going to say that they just want the fact that you're getting to spend that money. I noticed that I used to officiate weddings as well as coordinate and decorate and all that other good stuff. Um, and I noticed in that I was doing things that a lot of these women did not stay married or these couples didn't stay married very long, because the only thing that they were into was showing the Joneses what they have and what they, just caught. But they're
None,
not
none
there
of
for
304s.
stability. They're not there for the true love. They're just there for the show. And they don't stay married long. I'm gonna
Yep.
use a celebrity, for example, Portia Williams and her African husband. Now they are estranged because of I guess some situations, but I realized that they were probably dating a couple of months before he proposed and wanted to get married. And here it is. Now you get married because you think this man is established and he has all his money because you've seen him, hang around the right crowd. They hang around the right crowds and don't have a dime to their name because they leeching off of other people. But they do it so well that you don't even realize that that's what they're doing. Um,
Right.
so she gets married to this man and they have this lavish wedding. They actually get 5 dresses, 2 ceremonies, and one was I think either both of them was in Africa or one was in Africa and one was in America, and they spent all this money and she's doing
No,
all this and he's doing
he
all that.
spent all that.
And
He
come to
spent
find
all
out,
that money.
they didn't even know they didn't sit down to learn enough about each other before they sat down and got married. For the simple fact that, okay, I remember back in the day we used to think about um, the credit scores.
Right.
Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Hello?
I'm here.
I'm sorry, I my headphones must have went out. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can definitely hear you. Keep going.
Hello?
I'm here. You can't. I can hear you, Chocolate Pearl. I can hear you. Oh, your mic went out. Drop off and drop back in.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. You're good to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. What part did I miss? Because I was getting into that conversation.
You were saying they had gotten married. She had 5 dresses, 2 ceremonies in Africa. And
And
they go
now,
ahead.
now that they've divorced because they didn't take the time to learn each other. They didn't take the time to. Okay, back in the day, we used to your credit score had to be a certain amount before we even considered being with you. Type thing.
Right. But
I had to really see really were or really are before I even wanted to get married. Um,
I
they
understand
don't do
that.
that anymore. They just see whoever's showboating and are you survive. You are surviving off. There's a lot of people out there. A lot of hustlers can, excuse me, can make it look good
Oh no,
without
yeah.
having anything.
Oh no, I agree. The issue is that not that they got married in a whirlwind court, big wedding, is the fact that um is she actually a wife? I know she was on Real Housewives and she was married when she got on there to Cordell Stewart, who was a subject of a nasty rumor. Um, but was she actually a wife? She's very good looking. She keeps herself in shape, but she wanted princess treatment. And first she left Cordell because he said he was controlling. And then she got with this African guy, and the African guy was probably like, who left the girl he was going to marry to get with her. And he was, found out that it wasn't all roses and what all wasn't roses and cream. And Apple put in there, Cynthia Bailey did the same thing twice. Yeah, but Peter was kind of how can I put this? He had bum tendencies, but that's another story for another day. But he did have ambition, but I think his reach wasn't at the level of his ambition. But a lot of guys, when they're on their grind, trying to get trying to get to where they want, a lot of time they feel if they get married, um, a wife is going to hold them back because women require maintenance. and I don't mean just an occasional shot of penis. Let me go number 5. Financial responsibility. I know you can talk about that, Chocolate Pearl. You can talk about